Welcome to the Encinitas Chamber Chat Live podcast. I'm Carol Knight with the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce. With the help from my talented friends at Max Deluxe, we will showcase the many aspects and unique qualities of the Encinitas community. Whether it be focusing on local business owners, advice from experts, or highlighting some of the local gems Encinitas has to offer, we hope you'll find this podcast informational and entertaining. It's summer, and just about everyone I know is on vacation or returning from one. I'm fortunate to live in California, where people actually come to vacation. But how does a city tap into those visitors to stay and play in their town? And more importantly, how do they tap into those dollars the visitors are spending? To discuss the tourism topic, I have with me today Michael Glenn of North County Board Meeting, Encinitas Chamber of Commerce board member, Tourism Committee lead, and longtime Encinitas resident. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much. That was a lot of titles there, so thank you for that.
All right, so before we delve into my favorite topic, tourism, let's talk a little bit about your background and what is North County Board Meeting?
Oh, okay. So I've been a resident for 30 years, and I grew up in Southern California, knew that Encinitas was the place I wanted to call home. And so since then, I started the North County Board Meeting about 10 years ago, and it's to support local businesses. We do charity work, and then we're actually a group of surfers, of business professionals. Mm-hmm. And so we've just been trying to promote the area in general. And since I'm from Encinitas, that kind of led into the tourism side of why I like to do tourism and help support our community. All
right, so you are a board member at the Encinitas Chamber.
Correct.
So how did that come about, and how does the Chamber play into your business and what you do?
Oh, okay. So joining the Chamber, I was excited to kind of support our local businesses with the North County Board Meeting. Joining the Chamber took that next step. And I've been part of the Chamber now, I think, for 2 years. And being part of the Tourism Committee, being part of the Business and Economic Development Committee, and of course being on the Board of Directors, just supporting our local businesses and making sure that we have a thriving community is important. So that's why I've been part of that now.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
So let's delve into tourism a little bit.
Okay.
California visitors are big business for California.
Very big.
They're spending upwards of $160 billion.
Yep.
And in San Diego proper alone, that's, I think of that as like $16 billion.
About 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does, I mean, that's just not hotel stays.
Yeah.
So what is a tourism-related business? We'll start there and then.
Oh, sure. So tourism-related business is anything that visitors touch. So it could be transportation, it could be visiting, our parks or museums, cultural arts, restaurants, hospitality, could be hotels, staying at a campground, and then the retail side too, visiting a surf shop or just a boutique. So all of that encompasses where that $160 billion, a billion with the B, is for California. And so with San Diego County being about 10% of that, Encinitas sees a big portion of that too, because we're such a great place to visit, just like our deserts and our mountains or big cities. So a lot of people are coming here just because it's a great place, and that's why we ended up living here, I guess.
All right, so Encinitas collects a transient occupancy tax,
TOT,
as people say, TOT.
Yep.
So do you know how much that is, and is that then being put back into tourism or into some other areas in Encinitas?
So it changes every year. I think it's a few $1 million right now. It might be about, I think $5 million was maybe the last time I saw that stat. So right now the city currently is putting it back into infrastructure, which all of the residents and visitors use. So it could be road infrastructure, it could be beautifying our parks, making sure our beaches are beautiful, making sure that we're safe with law enforcement and our lifeguards. So currently it comes back into there. Other cities, they're using a little bit more of that TOT tax to make sure that goes back into the hospitality side, like we said, restaurants, the retail, and to do the marketing for that. Other smaller cities, Del Mar, I think, uses about $250,000 for that. I think there's maybe about $10 million in Newport Beach. Mm-hmm. So there's kind of a wide range if you're just looking at coastal cities.
Right.
But we're kind of late to the game, which is okay. We've done the businesses and our restaurants and hotels and everything have been doing a great job of their own marketing. But it's kind of time that we help them out a little bit to make sure that our businesses don't go out of business, and then our tax revenue goes back into our residents here.
All right, so that brings me to my next question. So I'm also a long-term time resident of Encinitas. I tend to avoid the beaches when they're crowded during the summer.
Summertime,
right?
yeah.
So is there really a need to have more visitors come, and what's the benefit
That is a great point.
Encinitas?
Yeah, so we're already popular as it is, we all know that. But there's certain times of the year that our businesses are actually a little bit slower. Of course, we know kind of it rains in January, a week out of the year it seems like. But there's still is slower times.
Right.
So if we can kind of help kind of, I guess, maybe at an even level when the visitors come. So maybe take some of those tourists who thought were maybe coming in the summertime, and maybe it's even too crowded for them, have them come towards the January, February, March kind of slower months. And we have a more steady stream of people coming in. It's also important too that we kind of create that narrative of the type of visitors that we do want to have here. Is this a party town? Like Vegas? It isn't, of course, but is it more family oriented? Is it more diverse? There's a lot of ways that we can kind of get the marketing out so that we actually have a kind of a steady stream of visitors that want to come and respect Encinitas.
All right, so let's get into that a little bit.
Sure.
You and I have worked very closely, full disclosure, that we worked really closely on the tourism part through the Chamber of Commerce and bringing our 5 unique communities together.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, and where are we today?
It's actually funny. It was actually came about coffee in a Liebenhain. Where was the place for that coffee? Do you remember?
The Champagne Bakery.
There you go. Okay. So it was probably a couple years ago. And we both mentioned how much we love Encinitas and how much we love to travel. And we had said, well, what kind of marketing are we currently doing? And actually, the Chamber's done a fantastic job of doing marketing over the years. But once we started finding out, there's other cities that are doing a fair amount of marketing with their own video production teams. There's teams that are just focused on building marketing for restaurants. And so as we kind of went through this process for the past 2 years, we really found out, like I mentioned, we're kind of late to the game. Oceanside just has this huge, I think it's a 10-year plan, if I'm not incorrect here, but to really promote some of the new things that they're doing up in Oceanside. And that's been fantastic. Oceanside's really changed the narrative of who they are and the type of visitors are coming in. And it's a beautiful town. There's certain cities like Carmel, obviously, up north have done marketing forever. And if you look at kind of the coastal side. So we need to kind of, like I said, focus and have that narrative and make sure we put the kind of the right people in place, like yourself, to help with it. And that's kind of where we are now. So we're kind of at the beginning. We're working with the city to actually kind of get this grassroots kind of program going. And I think it's going in a great direction because we have the new website, which I don't know if I've spilled the beans too early, but we do have the new website. So.
All right, so to take a step back, we do have a visitor center. So the Chamber of Commerce was running the Encinitas Visitor Center, which is housed within the Chamber of Commerce. And now we've rebranded, so the visitor center is a physical location, but it is a rebranding to Visit Encinitas.
True, yeah.
And absolutely, we launched the new website, visitencinitasca.com, on the first day of summer.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. I think the feedback has been really good.
Yeah, the eyeballs on the website.
Right, the eyeballs and then what we are bringing to visitors and residents alike, because there's a lot of information on that website.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Sorry I stole your thunder early.
That's
so I was just too excited. And it's true, and I guess maybe if we do take a step back too, as we mentioned before, that TOT tax comes back into the city, and of course that helps with the residents and the infrastructure and the things we do. So kind of bottom line, that's the reason that we're trying to kind of streamline this visitors program that we're doing. So the Chamber always had the Visit Encinitas website, which is visitencinitasca.com, CA for California. And so it was kind of a landing page where you can find restaurants, you can find things to do, places to see. We wanted to make it more kind of intuitive and more collaborative, have a little more information on there. You can see there's a lot more stories that we have on there, places to visit and times to visit during the year. So the website was launched just recently. We've had great input from the restaurants and hospitality and cultural arts and everybody else. everyone's really, really excited to kind of jump in and kind of help us with our stories and the narrative we're doing. But yeah, it's a really, really great place to find out, like I said, places to see or things to do, which was a little bit deeper than we had in the past.
Yeah, I agree. So we have a great insider's guide.
Yep.
So it's sort of our insider's guide and tips, hidden gems, let's say, in Encinitas. So things that perhaps the average visitor wouldn't see at first glance. We have those 5 unique communities in Encinitas. So it's a really great opportunity to bring those together. Obviously, we know as Encinitas residents, but we have Leucadia, we have the downtown, we have on the south side Cardiff 101, we have a Leeuwenhain, and then we have New Encinitas or the El Camino Real corridor. So it's really a place all those folks can come together, as well as those typical beaches, surf spots, hiking spots. I mean, we have so many great trails. So it really is sort of a one-stop shop and the first sort of go-to resource that I think visitors would want to go to.
No, it's true, and it's funny. And you mentioned all 5 of the boroughs we have, but there's so many people that think Encinitas is just the beach. But really there is, I mean, the hiking trails in the Leeuwenhain, all the kinds of businesses you can find on the El Camino Real corridor, and, New Encinitas, historic old downtown, Cardiff and the campgrounds and everything that has to offer, Leucadia and all of its funky shops. But a lot of people don't realize that. They really think it's maybe just one part of town. They think that, maybe Leucadia is part of Carlsbad or whatever.
Right.
And so, it's really great getting that story out. And there's a lot of places for people to visit. I know that we're working on stories of 36 hours of things to do, but there really is, it should be 36 days, really, of what to do in the area, because there's so much.
Right. And, I mean, we haven't even talked about the cultural arts aspect of everything. I mean, we are home to the Institute of Contemporary Art.
A long history.
ICA, as well as, I think we did a quick count, and we have more than 51 murals.
Wow.
Between the murals that are up and down the coast to the mosaics to the power boxes that are painted by local artists.
And what about Pacific View opening up?
Pacific View is opening up in early August. So again, that's another way to attract visitors, and again, visitors to really explore our town at a different level.
And people have always thought of us as being very creative. The Keep Leucadia Funky is an artist town, but the whole town is an artist town. And like you mentioned, Institute of Contemporary Art, obviously Pacific View, all of our murals, the local artists. Historically, it has been such a great place to see arts. And that has nothing even to do on talking about music or talking about performances and talking about so much more, that art encompasses. And so, and that's great. And of course, there's the surf culture and there's just the sporting culture. And yoga has, so many famous people in the yoga world. Which I don't want to speak out of line because I'm not a huge yogi, but there is so many neat things to do and see in the Swami's Self-Realization Center that everybody knows too. But
right, and I believe that sport does go beyond surfing and the obvious, cycling.
Running.
We have 7 Olympians right now that are call Encinitas home. From skateboarding to surfing to I think volleyball. So I mean, we do have a lot to offer. All right, so you're obviously not just doing this yourself. Me, we do have a small team, but we've established a tourism board.
Yes. So to make it successful, we need the support of the community. And yourself and myself, and we've been meeting with the city council and the mayor, cultural arts committees. There is the tourism committee, which is made up of local businesses, which kind of gives the input of kind of the direction we should go. And then we also have our board, which we also call kind of our think tank. And it's important businesses in the area, which help kind of guide us. Because even though you and I are heavily invested in it, they have a lot of data from the hotel side and the restaurant side and the art side, which really guides us. And that has been fantastic so far because everyone's really, really given some great details and great input. You've been working, I think, with Visit California and the San Diego Tourism Authority, and of course that's been great information. So it takes a village, and it really does. And like we mentioned kind of at the beginning, all of that comes back into our community, and those tax dollars help with law enforcement, helps with beautification of parks, our beaches. And we just happen to be a place where visitors want to come. And that's the way kind of our business community is set. There's obviously businesses that aren't tourist related, but there's also a lot that are. And so we need to kind of all help each other and make sure that we're doing the right thing for the future.
Right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely. Because I don't think there's so many businesses that wouldn't survive without those visitors coming in. I don't think the residents themselves could keep some of those restaurants.
It keeps lower property taxes. Like I said, it helps pay for law enforcement. It's all intertwined. Yeah.
So beyond the website, which also has some advertising opportunities. So we have the local businesses can actually do an advertisement on the website,
Correct.
whether, Hanson's wants to sponsor the beaches pages, or Lila Maria wants to...
Or real estate.
So, there's plenty of opportunities, again, to give our local businesses and hospitality-related businesses some visibility.
Yeah, that they may not have in the past. And it's great because the website, and we've mentioned that it's a place for visitors to come and see information about places, things to do, but it's also a great place to find out new businesses opening up. You may have wondered, there's a business that went out, but there's a great new business going in, and if you're a local resident, you kind of want to find out what that is, and then eventually go and support your local business and eat there, or buy a T-shirt there. So it's been really good with the website having all that information, and it's good for the advertising side if you're looking to kind of get out to the local community, as well as kind of stretching your arms a little bit and maybe going out to people farther out that could be internationally too looking to come to Encinitas, which is great for your business.
Right, so it leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
So right now we've launched the Encinitas, Visit Encinitas CA website.
Yeah.
What else are you doing on the marketing side to attract those visitors? Are there any markets that you are targeting?
Yeah, so I think for the short term we're going to be looking to some of the information we've gotten back from the other businesses. Because we mentioned before, the hospitality side has some great information of the people coming in. So we're kind of taking that information, aggregating it, and finding out that, okay, the Desert Southwest has been really popular for people coming in here. It's snowbirds, obviously, that want to come out and we'll tell you the truth, and then the heat too.
Right.
But really we're finding out there's this huge influx of people even from, I think, Mexico City we just found out, internationally, overseas in Europe, coming over here because of obviously the surf culture and the yogi culture and everything else. But it is really interesting that there's so many people here where we think that maybe it's just people coming from other parts of Southern California, and it's not. It really is an international city now.
Right.
Yeah.
Those drivable cities or counties, LA, San Francisco, Orange County, those are sort of obvious ones.
Yeah.
My barometer is my son's working at Blenders this summer. And so I'm
There you go.
So when he comes home, he knows he has to ask where people are from. So he's like, Arizona, Colorado's big.
Yeah.
A lot of the Midwest folks are here this summer as well, and I think Canada. So as we grow, we can tap into those markets.
And it's just like us, and it's funny that you mentioned those spaces. I just got back from Montana. I just spent some time actually just over the hill in Palm Springs. All of us like to travel, and so of course Encinitas is going to pull up on a lot of people's radar. It's such a neat town. The weather is obviously fantastic, 365 days a year. So you are really finding, like I said, a lot of people from all over coming here. So, on the marketing side, I think you mentioned too, it's we have that outbound marketing, which we do on the website, but there's been a big push, obviously, on the public relations side, the social media side. So there is a lot of things that we're doing just on our side to get the word out.
Yeah, and as our budgets grow,
true.
I think we'll definitely be able to do more and really tap into. Visit California's machine.
Yeah.
They obviously have a lot of marketing dollars to spend. They're currently actually looking at China because China's opened up again. I don't know if we would ever actually get that customer down here in further south in Orange County. And then Australia was really interesting. And they were doing a whole sports marketing campaign because the Aussies love the American sports and trying to bring them in. And already talking about, and this will affect Encinitas, talking about the 2028 Olympics in LA.
Oh yeah, very true. And we mentioned it before, there's so many things to do here, but the sporting culture, you mentioned it before, is so huge. And I know the Encinitas Board Riders Club has actually been to Australia. And of course, the Australians come back over here. So the surf culture obviously is huge. But if you name off all the sports in this town, Encinitas Ranch Golf Course obviously is huge. Cycling, a lot of triathletes in this town, and so of course they bring their friends.
Right. You got the skateboarders.
And obviously skateboarders, Poots Park, all of our skate parks in town, all the famous, sports people that we have in this town. It just really kind of feeds off of each other. And of course, that word spreads and then everybody wants to come here and come visit, which is fantastic.
Right, exactly. So you, longtime Encinitas resident, you're an avid surfer.
Yeah.
You take you take your e-bike just about everywhere.
And take it to work every day.
All right, so what are some of your favorite spots?
Wow. It's really funny. So I'll get back to the e-bike side here. I love on a Saturday morning to get on my e-bike, not even have breakfast yet, and just to head down the hill, and I live in Upper Leucadia part towards the golf course, but head down the hill, end up at like Coffee, see everybody there that we know, it's a fantastic town. Start to ride along Neptune, maybe there's a garage sale, and so next thing you know, it's noon at that point. Visit the local surf shops, pick up some wax, stop by Hanson's, stop by Progression, Instant Surfboards, everything else. And then as you just kind of wander through town, it's fantastic. And you end up, maybe all the way down at Seaside Market, get some lunch at Fish 101. How many places have I mentioned so far? But the point is that you just end up on your bike and you visit all of town and you can just stop, see everything you want to see, and it's 6 o'clock at that point, and then you're at Market Space having a drink or whatever it can be in La Special Norte. But it's just such a great town to explore, and you mentioned before there's so many great little neighborhoods, you kind of get lost. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, and it's visitor or resident alike. Make sure you visit the website because it is so informative, and there's so many things to see and do. And really, we'd just love to have everybody's input, how we can make Encinitas a better place, and just kind of find ways to do some great marketing for this town. So.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
And I encourage everyone to visit EncinitasCA.com, where summer never ends. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to our sponsor, Max Lux. Join us again for the next episode of Encinitas Chamber Chat Live. For more information on the Chamber and its activities, please visit EncinitasChamber.com.